I love how you break this down, and I'm going to let you talk to us about what men like, what women like, and why we need to have and address both of them in the setup of our properties.
It's so important because, as in most widgets that are being sold, you have to understand who your customer is to sell your widget. And a short-term rental is a widget. It is not a house. The biggest mistake that most new short-term rental owners make is thinking of their property as their home or their extra home or their other home, and not as their small business. So when you get a small business, you've got to sell your product. And in order to sell your product, you've got to know who your customers are. Now, contrary to popular belief, there are two sexes, and there are men and there are women, and men think of things in a certain way and women think of things in another way. Now, unfortunately, my father passed away when I was very, very young. So I was raised by a single mom. So in growing up, I learned how to speak fluent girl, which has come in quite handy with my wife and 3 daughters. But there is a much different way that men and women shop. There's a much different way that men and women process information. And there's a much different way that men and women approach short-term rentals. So understanding first and foremost, who is the customer based on your property type. Okay. Number one, if you're selling a property that is targeted at couples, your primary customer is going to be men, not women. So that means that you're going to be thinking about the things that makes a man get excited when looking at a property for a couples retreat. I'll get to some more stats on that. When you're looking at a family dynamic, when it's got children involved, 80% of the booking decisions are going to be made by mom. And that overlays in just about everything in life. When you think about doctor's appointments, when you think about getting to and from practices, a lot of times, 80% of the time on average, that's mom. That's getting the kids and the family where they need to be when they need to be there. I'll be honest, if something's wrong with me, I go to my wife and say, man, I feel like I have this problem. And until she schedules me a doctor's appointment, I just live with it. And that's pretty much how most men operate. So even if the guy is the one swiping the credit card or the one that has the Airbnb or VRBO account, she's the one calling the shots when the family's involved. So we're going to light on that a little bit first, because family listings are the primary listing component when we're looking at the Airbnb VRBO situation. Either families buying for just themselves or families combining families to go and buy as a group, okay? So when we're looking at this, we want to think about what appeals to mom first. Well, visually, women like high fashion, high decor, beautiful complements of color theory. Women naturally gravitate towards that. When you look at any large major fashion brand or retailer, the marketing is always geared towards color and high fashion. So we want to make sure that first and foremost, our decor stands out as being colorful. But 80 to 90% of listings are not colorful. They're monochromatic. I said earlier that that's safe. You're right, Sean. It's very risky for the investor, but it feels safe for the interior designer that's being hired to come in and produce a product. Because if I stay in a neutral palette, you can't really get mad at me if I deliver something and it doesn't perform because it looks like everybody else. So they're being safe at your peril, okay? So that's an obvious. But when it comes to the psychology of what she's looking at beyond, does it look good? It gets to very simply 3 things. Number one, how does my family or my party integrate with the space? Okay. What this means is there a place for everyone, and everyone, do they have a place? So when you think in terms of the conventional decor method of, I'm going to totally trick out the primary or the master, and then I'm going to move into the kids' rooms and the guest bedrooms, and I'm going to keep diminishing quality as I diminish guest value, that doesn't make a mom go, ooh, I feel like I can get nice equitable space by putting someone here, someone here, someone here. So she's already thinking about who's going to be ticked off by getting crammed in the junk room. The other thing is, one of the fastest and largest growing segments for years in the short-term rental industry are all girl groups going out and doing all girl vacations, doing bachelorette parties, things like that. Men don't typically call each other up and go, hey, you know what would be really cool? Let's go get an Airbnb and all hang out together and talk and do hair and nails. This is not a thing, right? So when you're looking at the girl groups, that same psychology comes into place with everyone having a place. Who's going to be ticked off if we're all throwing down the same dollars that I got relegated to the tiny room under the stairs while everyone else is in these lavish rooms? Now, keep in mind, sometimes the bone structure of the house itself derives a benefit, like a primary might have a really bougie bathroom, whereas a secondary bedroom might have a shared bathroom with another room. There are structural inherencies that the property delivers, but if you strategically decor those bathrooms and add the same amenities in them, you can photograph them, present them where you do show the upgrades of one, but don't make the other look downgraded. So super important. Everybody has an equal experience. And the more you tie the vacation destination and the themes and the things that you're coming to do into that decor dynamic, not only does she start to find a place for everyone, making sure their experience is equitable, but she also starts to get emotionally bought in to the excitement, the joy, and the sheer wondrous wow that's going to happen when the kids come in and go, this is my room. And that becomes an emotional connection as well. Okay. Number two, is it safe? Okay. Is it safe? Now, there's two ways to address safe. I don't just mean like, are you in a bad neighborhood? The truth is, a lot of times you have no idea what the neighborhood itself is. You just see a generic location when you're booking. You don't get the address until you're booked. And then you might go and say, ooh, this is not in a good location. But nobody's really looking at that on the booking side. What they're looking at is, does this pool safe for my kids? Are we on the side of a cliff? Is there everything in the house look no touch? A lot of people make the mistake of going, ooh, we're going to use all these bougie crystal and glass and this. To the mom of a family, especially a family like mine that has 6 kids, all my wife is looking at is, oh, heck no, we're not going there because I can't keep that put together. Everything's going to break and it's going to be horrible. We're not doing it. Okay. So at the end of the day, is it safe isn't just about having the pool alarms, which you can highlight in your listing saying, hey, look, anytime someone opens this door, there's a little button that goes out to the pool. You can highlight these little things in your listings as what I call micro amenities. That's a safety precaution, but it also translates into the decor itself, using wood and metal lamps that can knock over, not having tons of tchotchkes everywhere that look breakable, and not going with upholsteries that look highly stainable, so that the decor itself makes me go, we can roll with this place. I can cover up a lot of sin in this house when my kids get in there. Okay. Then the third thing that a woman is looking at is women tend to rent homes the same way that they would buy them, which means that they're looking for something typically way outside of their price point. That's coming from my own personal experience. And they're looking at the things that women typically look at. They're looking at kitchens. They're looking at bathrooms. They're looking at, do I get an elevated experience from what I'm currently living in when I go in here? Which means that if you've got a gajillion small appliances, deep cereal bowls, I've seen a lot of really smart listings where people will take all of this stuff with the knowledge that almost 90% of breakfasts are had at the STR, while the vast majority of dinners and lunches are held away from the STR. So why not fully lean into breakfast? Show that you've got griddles, you've got waffle makers, you've got deep cereal bowls, you've got juicers, you've got everything to kickstart the day, and you put it all in one big picture on the cabinet. I don't like doing the poltergeist look where we just open all the cabinet doors and take a picture. That's kind of weird. But when we set all this stuff out strategically and we put the right graphics beside it and the right floral, and we really bring that picture to life, we show mom that she can come in here and be an awesome mom. And that again ties into the psychological component of it as well. Okay. Now,